Welcome to the half-yearly communication of the Grand Lodge of Western Australia. My name is Peter Kerwin and I'm the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Western Australia. I welcome you to the Grand Lodge Media Centre. As I always do, I'd like to thank Matt and his crew behind the scenes for helping out with this production. This is a first for us. Our half-yearly communication is normally held in a business meeting in the room next door where we have the brethren attending, and we have the report from the Grand Master. Due to COVID-19 restrictions and also the availability of our media centre, we thought it best to actually try a better way of doing things. Instead of getting people to come into Subiaco from around the state, which is very time consuming, we thought best to go out to you. And hopefully this will get out to even the country regions a lot more and make them feel more involved. So as long as you have an email address and you're part of our MailChimp list, you'll hopefully be able to see this. So we'll have more than the 80 or 90 brethren that just come along and listen. Brethren and our friends, the last 6 to 9 months have been different, very different. As we all know, COVID-19 has made a major impact on Freemasonry, let alone a major impact on your personal and business lives. We have recovered from it. We were having, apart from the occasional lockdowns, we are back to our normal meeting procedures, but we are still going to have to adjust. We are catching up on all those people that showed an interest in joining us during the near 12-month lockdown we had, or suspension of meetings we had. But during that same time, we also lost a large number of brethren. And I think since July last year, we've lost nearly 400 members to Freemasonry. A large number of those was attributed to actually them passing to the Grand Lodge above. And we had some numbers as well resigning because they no longer had an interest. But they found that not coming to Lodge wasn't such a big deal. Unfortunately, I find that a little bit strange for a true Freemason, that they just quite easily found an alternative. But there are some brethren that have realised that once they're back at home, their partners, their family life would prefer them to be at home than going out. Well, I fully understand that, because your family should always come first. You should not make sure that attending meetings for Grand Lodge or for your own individual lodge or for any other order is a priority over your family. So brethren, I have no problem with those brethren that have decided to withdraw from our craft. This number of reductions is going to have a major impact on our organisation. We're down to about 2,200 members. I'm not afraid to talk about numbers in the public, but we were sitting prior to, I think it was originally when Most Worshipful Brother Bill Babe first took office, of just over 3,000 members. So we've had a very large decrease in basically 6 years. And this is going to have a large impact on our financial situation, which the Grand Lodge is going to have to address. This will be done, obviously, at board level, and it will be communicated to you, hopefully, via these videos and through direct mail outs or to the Lodge secretaries or through your DJWs. But you'll be made fully aware of what we're doing and why we're doing it. But I just thought I'd give you a warning that losing 400 paying members from our craft, from a total of about 2,600, has a big impact and will affect us. We must start thinking about doing things better, smarter, and making sure you still have a say in Freemasonry and you can enjoy your Freemasonry the way it was intended to be. These numbers, even though we're going down, we are receiving a vast number of interest from younger members or newer members into Freemasonry. We are seeing lodges doing doubles, triple degree ceremonies. They can only be congratulated on doing this, and it really should congratulate a lot of the country lodges. I've just seen some Facebook posts from the Champion Bay Lodge in Geraldton of the number of fellowcraft and entered apprentices they have there as well. The Harding Lodge in Karratha is doing exactly the same thing, large amount of numbers going through. And I can only wish those country lodges all the best and thank them for the work they are doing. Some other country lodges are suffering because of the area they're in and the population that has been diminished in their small country towns. The effect this has been dramatic in some areas. In the last month alone, I've attended 3 surrender of warrants, 2 of them within the city and 1 in the country. And we are approaching probably another 3 to 4 lodges that will amalgamate with other lodges. Hopefully, we have kept nearly all the Freemasons we possibly can within the craft. They've found new lodges, new homes to go to. And if you are struggling and you are contemplating a surrender of a warrant or amalgamation, please consider the situation that everybody gets a new home to go to before you make a final decision. It's unfortunate that we had, when I first became Grand Master, about 103 or 104 lodges. By the time I finish, I'll be surprised if we have more than 90. 2 or 3 lodges closed their lodges or surrendered their warrants in the first 12 months that I was a Grand Master. And it was obvious it was going to happen. But with 2,200 members, you cannot expect 100 lodges across the state to operate viably, especially when we have about 5 or 6 lodges that have over 50 members each. So that takes 10%. Those 5 or 6 lodges take 10% of our membership. And it's assuming everybody's active. We know they're all not. So we have to do things smarter and better and hopefully get more impact for what we do. So for those lodges that are up and running and are doing the right thing and are getting their members and keeping them in contact and are keeping in contact with those brethren that aren't coming to lodge meetings, thank you for those efforts. From a Grand Lodge point of view, what we've done is we've restructured our committee structure. We now have an education and training committee, which was defunct for a number of years. This committee is chaired by the Grand Inspector of Workings, and he's already had a couple of workshops which were held a couple of weeks ago. There will be a lot more workshops involved with this committee, and it'll be involved with helping training people to do work inside their lodge room and also help them with general education with the assistance of the WA Lodge of Research. We have now not just a membership committee, but it's now called the Membership and Welfare Committee. This committee is more aimed at looking at how we can get people onboarded that are showing interest in Freemasonry, how they can be processed, dealt with and allocated to lodges, how they looked after when they are first introduced to a lodge, how they looked after once they first become an initiate, and how they looked after once they become a Master Mason. And they're organising surveys to work out some of those things. They're also trying to work out why people leave Freemasonry and is there any underlying cause that we can address. This is what they're doing. They also can be looking at the welfare, the actual welfare of a brethren once they've been there. Normally that's allocated just purely to the Grand Almoner, but he'll be working with this committee to make sure that we all have our issues faced. And I do know, especially in the last 9-12 months, so many brethren have passed away, so many brethren have lost their partners, and there's a lot of brethren that have even lost their children. This is extremely important that the Masonic family can put our hand out, our arm around those brethren and support them when and if they need it. That's one of our prime reasons we are Freemasons. We support people when they're down. And brethren, that's something that we need to do as a Grand Lodge, is to make sure we can offer all the resources we possibly can to help you within your lodge and the individual members, all the efforts we can when they need it. We also, in our committee structure, we have a Ceremonial Procedures Committee, which used to be the Ritual and Ceremonial Committee. That's progressing very well. They've dealt with many issues and they continue to look at certain issues that keep coming up. And one of the main things that they've done, probably in the last 6 to 9 months, is restructure a section of our manual of rulings that governs unmasonic conduct. And if anybody has a complaint and how to deal with it. And they have a process that's set in place. And through practice, we'll refine that to make sure it's dealt with fairly. But it's basically making sure everybody has a fair go and any questions or charges against somebody individually can be answered properly. And lastly, we also have a another committee, which was the recovery committee. It's now going to be moved into the communications committee. And this will help out communications like we're doing now. This has been chaired by the Deputy Grand Master, now the Grand Master-elect. It is going to be helping out with our future and how we deal with people, not just inside Freemasonry, but outside Freemasonry and using outside sources. So, brethren, we now have a Grand Master-elect, Right Worship Brother Danny Gannon. I was going to say Daniel Lewis Gannon. Danny Gannon, that's what he knows him. He has selected his team for the upcoming year. The grand installation is only in 3 months' time. And I urge all of you to get behind our new Grand Master. We have made some tough decisions in the last 9 to 12 months. I take full responsibility for all of that. Our Deputy Grand Master has been operating alongside me, working for the future. I may have handled him a rough ashlar to deal with, but I'm sure he can make it into a smooth ashlar as he progresses. Because we've had to deal with some hard decisions, make some tough decisions that haven't always been palatable, haven't gone down too well. I take full responsibility for all of those. And if somebody's upset, I'm the person you aim at. I'm quite here. You can always come and speak to me. But our new Grand Master-elect has a team behind him that's been working with me and looking forward to how Freemasonry will progress and continue to progress in the future. And I urge all of you to get behind him and his team to ensure that this great organisation will continue to have a presence in our community that it deserves. So I'd like to thank you all, brethren, for this half-yearly communication. The next time I'll be giving any communication will be at the grand installation, where I'll be stepping away from the chair. And I wish you all well, all your families. Please stay safe, stay well, and may your God go with you. Thank you.